Hello and welcome to episode 135 of Daryl Show Your Work. So continuing with the overall theme of exploiting CVEs, in this episode I'll be exploiting CVE 2012-1823 to gain access to a target host through command line access. All right, and that pretty much involves trying to find and modify a PHP configuration file. So I'll be jumping more into what CVE 2012-1823 specifically involves. But before I go any further here, I'm going to give the usual disclaimer that I preface my videos with when I'm doing red teaming or offensive security activity by saying that this is for research and ethical and educational purposes only. Any sort of malicious activity that may directly or indirectly come from someone watching this video, I do not take responsibility for, nor do I condone. All right, so PHP, so what is it? So it is short for a personal homepage, which is a popular open source server-side scripting language designed for web development. All right, so before starting, I've done some pre-recording discovery. So my IP address is 10.10.40.10, and the target IP is 10.3.31.91. All right, so as always, I have to start things out by conducting some recon to make sure that that port 80 is open, since PHP is a web language and involves something being hosted on port 80, which is the default port for HTTP. I need to verify that it's indeed running and to see what services it's running. All right, so to do that, see, waiting for my system to catch up here. All right, I need to run an nmap scan. And first, I'm gonna do a service scan, and then a default script scan, and then I'm gonna specify port 80, and then I'm gonna give it the target IP. Oops, wrong thing there. Got ahead of myself there. That's going to be relevant later, but not now. Okay, so let's copy that IP. All right, so okay, all right. So let me see before I go any further. Let's just move this out the way because we're going to need plenty of room to be able to see what's going on. I don't want anything impeding our line of sight, even my radio face here. There we go. Okay, so let's get that nmap scan running. All right, so we can see that port 80 is indeed open. Looks like it's running an Apache server, and it's 2.2.8. Shouldn't be too relevant for what we got going on now. We can also see that that dab directory is present here. In my previous video, I exploited the vulnerable nature of that by executing an executable PHP shell on that, but that's beyond the scope of what I want to go over here. But I will pay a visit to this to our host address, to our target host's address, to see what's actually being hosted here. All right, looks like the same directory as that's been in the last previous videos. All right, so I'm not going to look into any of these directories. Actually, I'm looking for something very specific. So sometimes when setting up PHP, the PHP language on a device, all right, there's certain files that may get left over that may have not been cleaned up. And one of those things, one of those files is the PHP information file, PHP information document, which basically just provides a ton of details about the version or the or what flavor of PHP may be running on that particular device. So I'm going to see this. I'm going to look to see if that file is present. Now, this isn't a configuration file that inevitably I'm going to be looking for, but still, it's some good information that's going to give me an idea of what that configuration file is called, and then um, what version of PHP is running on this device, which is all very relevant information. So the name of that file is phpinfo.php. All right, so I'm going to hit enter to see if that subdirectory exists. Looks like it does. All right, so we can see right here at the top that the version of PHP that's running is 5.2.4. All right, and then if we look further down here, we can see the path for the configuration file, and this is what I'm actually looking for, and it's called CGI. All right, so pretty simplistic naming convention here. All right, so in order I want to be able to find if this configuration file um, and or version has any sort of vulnerabilities to anything. All right. So the way that I can look for any sort of exploit scripts to any vulnerabilities that may be present is to use this searchsploit tool here, and I'm going to say PHP CGI, and let's see what comes up. All right, we have quite a few options. All right, but the thing that immediately stands out to me is this one right here. All right, and so this looks like it's actually targeting, when we see this less than sign, is basically any version less than either 5.3.12 or 5.4.2, and we know our version is 5.2.4, which qualifies as being vulnerable depending on whichever qualifier you want to go with. All right, and it looks like the type of exploitation that's being used here is something called CGI argument injection. And what that is, it's a common security vulnerability that allows an attacker to manipulate the command line arguments passed to a program running in common interface mode, which that's what CGI stands for, and it potentially leads to arbitrary code execution. So this occurs when a user input is used to construct command line arguments without proper validation or sanitation. All right, and we're going to see what the execution of all that looks like here. And to do that, I need to download this script here, this Python script. So in order to get that script in my local directory, I'm going to say search exploit -m, and then the ID of that exploit script was 18836. All right, I don't have to give it a Python extension to get that downloaded. All right, looks like it worked. All right, so I'm gonna do a ls command just to list out what's in my current directory to make sure it's in there, and we can see right here that it's in there. So let's take a look inside to see what's going on with this particular script and see if there's anything that I may need to adjust. All right, so we can see here at the top that all the CVE information, and we can see the exact nature of the CVE, which again is CGI argument injection exploit. All right, so looking at the layout here, this looks different from Python 3 or maybe Python 2. So I'm inclined to run this in Python 2 when I run this code. So if we look here under def CGI exploit, we can see that this is where it says pwn code. This is where the actual execution or exploit code goes. Okay, so right now what is all it's going to do is basically just output everything that we initially saw when we visited that php info.php subdirectory. It's going to basically show us everything on there. It's just going to give us the same information. So this is where I would actually replace what's in here um, with the actual malicious code that I want executed. And but I'm gonna show how this works before I enter that in and show why it's in its current state. It's not necessarily viable for the type of the execution, the type of exploitation I want to conduct here. So it's going down a little bit more. Just wanted to show a little bit more of what's going on here. So if we look here where it's under if name and main, and right here on print, all right. So we can see with this line, this is just where basically the format that I have to put the format that I have to put the command in, where I would specify the IP address and then first the actual script name right here, and then the IP address or host name, all right, and then the port that I'm executing against, all right. And I'm gonna show all this. I'm gonna exit out of here and show exactly how this works. All right. So I'm gonna say Python, and remember I said 2, so not 3. All right, and then let's say um, it is what 836 dot py. Oh, I forgot the p here. Give it the IP address. All right, then we want to connect to port 80. I mean, well, I don't know why I did that. Okay, there we go. All right, now let's run that. All right, so you see what you see here is the actual markup language for that page that we were just visiting. This page right here. So this is basically this page right here, but it's just a markup language. All right. So again, that's currently what the script is doing at the moment. Of course, this is not what I wanted to do. So I'm going to be substituting what's on that pwned code line with some different exploit code. And give me a second here because I have to recopy that. It's rather long, as we saw in the beginning of the video, and honestly, I don't want to sit here and spend more time than what we need to. We're watching everybody watch me potentially fat finger the syntax. So I already before recording, I already had this written out, and so we'll be just be ready to go. In terms of when it comes to exploiting this vulnerability. All right, so going back in to the Python script. All right, so I want to modify the pwn code. Let me see. Going back up. There we go. All right. So I'm going to remove everything from this semicolon to right there, and let's paste in the code that I actually want to run. All right. And then let's see what's my IP, because there's some things I need to modify with that. So my IP is okay 10.10.40.10. So I just need to change this to this 48 to 40, and that's 7 to 10. All right. So everything looks good. So basically, what's going to happen now is I'm telling the exploit this script to basically to on my local system, connecting to port 1234 to execute a born again shell, giving me command line access to our target host. All right, and now again, as I show at the bottom here of the script here, I'm going to specify what target host to basically give me access to with that born shell. All right, and that's the format. Let me scroll down here. And again, right here, this is going to be the format right here. It's going to be um, the Python script name, the the IP address, and then the port, which is port 80. All right. So and actually, um, to do that, when I run that, actually, I'm going to have to set up a netcat listener to do that, because while I'm going to be executing this code, I actually need to have a listener running in order for that when it executes, for that connection to be gained to back to my system. All right. So let's exit out of here. I'm doing Control X to exit out, and a Y to save. And then let's split the screen here. All right. So on this side, I'm gonna set up netcat listener nc dash n for ignoring DNS resolution, V for verbosity as far as output, L for listener mode, and P to specify the port, which again, we want to match ports that I've specified in my script, which is port 1234. And let's reapply the font here just so everything is clear. All right, there we go. All right, so let's get that running. And I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna run that script again. And I should be able to get my my Born script here. Bam, and there we go, right on this side. All right, so as you can see that I have a Born shell session now. So let's say that I wanted to turn this Born shell session into a bash session. So I'll just say bin bash dash I. All right, then there's my bash session, so we can see that I'm the service account www dash data, and that I'm in the var www directory. And so let's say now that I'm in here, I want to just do some enumeration here. All right, let's list out everything that's in this directory. All right, now we can see that dab directory here. All right, and then let's see if I wanted to just see, get some information, do some enumeration here on the operating system that's being ran. I would just say etc star release. All right, then we can see that it's running Ubuntu 8.04. And then if I wanted to get, let's say, the kernel information, uname dash R. All right, and that's the kernel information. So it says we has a dash AWS, so there's probably a high likelihood of it running a EC2 instance here. All right, so basically, that's the vulnerability, that's the exploit. All right, so just give a high level definition, high level explanation of what I've done here is basically I started out just by finding if our the necessary port was open. 80 it was. Went to our actual target's IP address to see what was being ran on that target, and we could see that it was hosting the same looks like directory of different services, but I looked specifically, want to see specifically that subdirectory with that PHP info was there, which it was, which allowed me to enumerate the not only the version of PHP running on it, but the particular file name of the configuration file that I need to find. So before doing any of that, basically I went into searchsploit, downloaded downloaded the exploit. What I searched for the exploit against the configuration file. All right, and then once I found out that it targeted that specific file and targeted the version that was running qualified as far as being vulnerable to this type of CGI command execution attack, so or argument injection attack rather. All right, and so once I did that, modified that file so it could basically um, 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 execute a bourne shell on the target host bar, me having this set up netcat listener to be able to listen for the connection once that was executed, and we got our connection to our target host, turned it into a bash shell, did some further enumeration, and that is the exploit. So please like, share, and subscribe. Most importantly, show your work. Until next time, take care of yourself and God bless.